Hello and welcome as always. I am Walt, and today our guest comes to us from Augvape and Mike Vapes, and it is the Intake RTA. Let's see what we got. Here's the package it came in. Pretty foxy. A tube. Shows the color on there, a bunch of verbiage all about it. Pop the top of the tube. Some really nice foam packaging in there. And with it came a bag of stuff. Got extra grub screws, we've got extra O-rings, we've got some extra filler sealing gaskets, we've got an extra 810, we've got an 810 to 510 converter. We also get a nice little tri-tool, I guess they call it. A couple of flat edge screwdrivers and a Phillips head screwdriver. You get an extra glass. With the light you probably can't see a thing. Okay, there we go. And that's just a straight sided glass. That's packed in as an extra. That I believe holds about 3 mils of your juice. And here's our RTA. And with that you get a bubble glass, and that holds 4.3 mils of e-juice. So starting at the top, an 810 drip tip, kind of a shorty. Okay, and the O-rings are on the inside of the receptacle. They're not on the drip tip itself. The other one is a little bit higher, a little bit longer. Any 810 will fit in there, goon style. The top cap is a half twist. There you can see the seal, and there you can see the lockdown mechanism squared off on the sides here, or half twist. Take that right off, and you see some really nice, good size fill ports. 2 of them obviously, so you can fill from one and the air can come out from the other. The airflow control is on the top. It does have a stopper on it. There's one on each side. Taking it apart a little bit further. Glass obviously comes right off. And looking at the build deck, this is where things start to get kind of interesting. Okay, we have got our little holes on the sides for wicking to go down. It's a GTA style kind of a deck. You've got a good open area on each side to the juice. In the center you have 3 holes, which is the bottom airflow. Here we have 2 tubes that come up the sides. Those 2 tubes go into those 2 holes you see on the side, and the air comes down from the top fill, down along through these tubes, back underneath the coil, up from the bottom through the coil, and then back up through the chimney. Here we can see the 2 posts. And you can see there's just a tiny bit of a jetty coming off the bottom of this to help you hold that end of the coil into place while you tighten down the grub screw. The other one's the same. Now there are just 1 on each side, so it is going to be, you're going to have to watch the direction that you wind your coil, and we'll talk about that. And then of course the way it sits in there is kind of nice too. These grub screws, if you're using a flat wire or a parallel Clapton, it's going to come down and tighten up against the flat and not twist your wire. So pretty sharp looking. kind of a different kind of a thing, but and it definitely should not leak. Being a top airflow and everything sealed off like that, shouldn't have any problems with that. On the bottom, a pretty standard look. This was obviously made in conjunction with Mike Vapes and Augvape. And then you can see our plated 5/10 center pin there. And you can see that it protrudes just a tiny little bit. To me, it's right on that edge of is it or is it not safe on a hybrid mechanical. I probably wouldn't do it myself, but it's got a little protrusion there, so obviously your option. You can see it. And that's pretty much the description of the Addy itself. Next up, let's see if we can get a build on it. So I played around with this Addy a little bit, and I'm going to show you the build that I like in it. This is not necessarily a recommendation. It's just the one that I kind of like. I put together some 228-36 stainless, and I'm using this on a 3mm rod. So I'm going to take and do a 6 turn. I want it spaced, but closely spaced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull it back out of there. Now notice I'm doing this holding it with my left hand and twisting with my right hand, twisting down and around. And I'll show you how that fits in the Addy so you can see the orientation. You can choose from there what you want to do with it. Okay, cut there in the filming because I didn't set out my wire clippers. So I'll clip the wire off, and I'm going to leave it right on that rod. We'll bring our Addy in here. I'm going to turn it in this direction. I hope that works for everybody else as well. And the way this is going to work out, twist it in that direction. This coil is going to set in there with the coil up. In other words, the lead's running underneath the bottom. I kind of like it like that. Not necessary, but I like it like that. Take the coil and kind of put it in at an angle and twist it into place. I like to just take my coiling rod and let it sit on there so that that coil is centered. And I'm taking my finger here and making sure that that coil end doesn't move out. And it's not giving me any problems at all. Same with this one over here. Tell you, it doesn't get much easier than that. I'm gonna pull up just a tad and look underneath there. That's how I like this guy. Basically, with the bottom lead straight out, okay, and that coil sitting on top, centered. And that's where I'm getting the best vape on this. It sure is easy enough to line up, that's for sure. Trim my ends, get in there nice and close, and you can. And you got a little bit of extra space here along the edge, so not too much chance of shorting out up against the edge of the Addy, although it's always good to double check. So, got my 0.43 ohms. That's what I got last time I put this particular build in. That's sweet. Now I'm going to take this. Now you kind of have to give it a little bit of a turn for those holes on the inside to line up. And screw it down a little bit. Double check, 0.43, good to go. Alright. Let's get some cotton involved in this. So, I'm going to take a piece of cotton, eyeball it and cut it right about there. Can't tell you how I judge that. I just do. So, take the outer layers. I do like to peel those off. There's a lot of debate back and forth whether that's necessary. Who knows? I don't know. I like to do it. And pull some of the fuzzies out of it. I like to give it a little bit of a roll just so it's round, not compressing it too much. And then of course squish that end down real nice and tight so I can get it started through that coil. Alright, that started nice. Kind of twist and turn here. Get that threaded on through there. Now, looking at those wicking holes, they're pretty small. Okay, this is a lot of cotton for those small wicking holes, and the way that I like to do this, I like to hold that down like that and cut it just about halfway through those threads. I know that's not very much cotton, but you're going to see why here in a second. Alright, so I've got that taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and give it a comb out just to get everything lined up. I'm not going to worry a whole lot about how much I comb it out. Let's see what I'm talking about here in a second. What I'm going to use is basically what a lot of builders called the damming method. Okay? Instead of trying to stuff a whole lot of cotton down through that hole, I'm just going to try to dam that hole up. Okay? Kind of like finger in a dike kind of a thing. So, yeah, I'm going to let some cotton drop in there. Okay? Kind of loosely, but I'm not going to really worry about all that cotton dropping in there. Okay, I just want it to sit on top of that basically. Okay, like I say, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit, inside of that hole, and basically keep it in place as much as anything. Okay, but for the most part, I'm just damming the top of that thing off. And there goes my cell phone telling me that my wife is going outside to smoke a cigarette. Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Like I say, just kind of pack her in on top of that. Okay, this thing is not going to leak with that top airflow and the way it's designed. Okay, and that damming is quite frankly going to do a real nice job and allow that to wick real nicely. So let us snag a little bit of juice. Prime this up just a tad. Make a mess all over my resistance meter. I'll wipe that up later. Okay. Yeah, let's put the addy back together. Get our glass on there and in place. Very nice. Take our outer chamber, let those holes snap into place, and tighten that little guy right down. Don't have to be afraid don't have to be afraid to get it pretty tight. Not going to break the glass. And well, there's about 4 milliliters. And fill it right on up. For such a short little addy, it sure does hold a real nice amount of juice. And quite frankly, I think it does it, and still is pretty short. I like the height of this thing. It's a 24 millimeter addy at the base, and it's 26 millimeters at the glass with the bubble tank. And it's a fairly short little addy. It's just real plain looking. Doesn't have a lot of flare going on or anything, but I like the looks of it. I think it's pretty darn sharp. Okay, well, that's about it for showing it off and putting it together. I guess next up is talk about it. Okay, so it's time to talk about it. Here she is sitting on top of a Charon Mini. I do like the way this looks on top of your smaller, average size 2-battery mods. Nice little shorty. It real close to the same size as your Smock Beast. I only show that because a lot of people know the size of it. A little wider, of course. With that 4.3 milliliters of juice, it lasts for a while. The build quality on this thing is real nice. Everything threads together real nice. I don't see any imperfections in any of the milling on the thing, anything of that nature. Obviously easy enough to build. Single coil, it is just that. I don't see getting any more than one coil in there. 2.5 to maybe 3 millimeter rod to build it on to be about it. You probably get a 3.5 in there, I guess. But the 3 millimeter coil that I put in here, that was my best test, and it really does put out some real nice flavor. It is excellent flavor. I'm not going to say that it's the very best I've ever had out of any addy ever, but it is really good flavor, and it does not leak. Those are definitely positives. You got a fair amount of airflow. I like the airflow wide open. It is restricted with all the travel that you get from the top to the bottom and then back up again. It's not terribly restrictive. It's a vape that I like, and I apologize, but I don't know any other way to describe it than that. I like a little bit of a draw to it. I don't like just a complete wide open airflow. But it's definitely in there in the mouth to lung. It's definitely not direct to lung. It's definitely not a mouth to lung atomizer. The other drip tip, a little bit taller. I kind of like the short one again. I don't know, just looks nice, feels nice, and the vape is just excellent, puts out good vapor. It all around just a real sweet addy. Like I say, it's not real ornate, but I think it's sleek looking. I like the look of it. Any black mod, of course, it's gonna look really good with. I do see where it's coming out in a number of colors now. I've seen blue, I've seen gunmetal. Of course, there's the silver. I thought I saw red someplace too, if I'm not mistaken. So you're getting some color choices with this as well. Just a real nice addy. Real nice price, right down the center of what you'd expect to pay for an addy like this. So it's another one that I'm going to gush a little about, and I'm going to recommend. I really do like the vape. I really do like the ease of build on it. It's sharp. I can put that. You got to be a little bit careful in spacing your coil. You can't really just pull a coil out and then mash it back down. You got to, if you want a space coil, you have to kind of be a little bit careful in wrapping it and get a pretty close wrap in there to get it to fit between those two posts that are in there real well. But out of that, a 0.43 ohm, that gives me some real decent battery life, as well as a real good vape. So, no complaints here. I don't really see any negatives to point out about this. I don't want to ding it in any way, shape, or form. It's a real nice addy. Oh, yeah, that flavor is there. This is an enjoyable vape. With that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate the view. A shout out to Augvape for sending me this. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but there were a little bit of blue edges when we were doing the close-up. A shout out to my buddy Derek. who is also referred to as El Destructo because he can destroy any mod in about 10 minutes. I've never seen the beat of it. But I was talking to him about how I had so much trouble trying to keep things centered underneath the camera while I was doing a build and whatnot. And he said, well, just put some tape around the edges and you'll know, where you've got to be. Duh. So shout out there. Thank you. That works really well. Don't know why I didn't think of it. So, as always, thanks again. See you later. Hope to see you again sometime.